All right, now it's another Sunday, another album rankings video. Last week I did 10 game changing albums of the 1970s, which were the most influential and all that other stuff. So I was inspired by that, and the response I got was okay, I guess. So today I'm going to be doing 10 more game changing albums of the 1970s. Once again, you can subscribe to my channel, like my videos, click the ding, the notification bell. When you see a new video, you can check it out yourself. And by the way, you can also, when you're done with this video, you can check out past album rankings video as the playlist is in the description box. We begin with Deep Purple in Rock from 1970. It was the band's breakthrough record in Europe, peaking at number 4 in the UK, remaining in the charts for over a year. By contrast, it underperformed in the US, where the band's Mark I albums had been more successful. An accompanying single, Black Knight, reached number 2 in the UK charts, becoming their highest charting single there. The album has continued to attract critical praise as a key early example of the hard rock and heavy metal genres. The other standout track includes Speed King. Next up is Who's Next from The Who, released in August of '71. This is the album that had the standout tracks Behind Blue Eyes, Baba O'Reilly, and Won't Get Fooled Again. This album had that arena rock feel to it, which was known for The Who doing all these live acts all the time, especially during the late 60s, early 70s. They were becoming hugely popular. The album was so popular that it went to number 4 on the US Billboard 200 and went triple platinum. It reached the top of the UK charts and went platinum as well. Next up is Houses of the Holy from Led Zeppelin, released in March of '73. Standout tracks include Over the Hills and Far Away, Dancing Days, Dire Maker. The song remains the same, The Rain Song, and No Quarter. This album was produced by Jimmy Page, and it's the follow-up to Led Zeppelin 4. Eddie Kramer returned as a recording engineer. He did a lot of the recording engineers for Led Zeppelin 4 and this record, and he would go on to produce Kiss's Love Gun in 1977. As of this recording, the album went to number 1 in both the US and the UK. It went 11 times platinum in the United States and platinum in the UK. Next up, we got Nightlife from Thin Lizzy, released in November of 1974. The record was produced by Ron Nevison and bandleader Phil Lynott. It was the first album to feature the band as a quartet with new members Scott Gorham and Brian Robertson on guitars. The song Philomena was written for Lynott's mother. It also features standout tracks like Still in Love with You, Showdown, It's Only Money, and Banshee. Not a bad album. It featured more of a mixture of hard rock, soft rock, and blues rock all in one. Not a bad album, by the way, but not as successful as Jailbreak was, that I covered last week on my previous album rankings episode. We then have A Day at the Races from Queen, which was the follow-up to the previous record, A Night at the Opera. Released in December of 1976, the record had more symphonic glam and pop rock elements, along with some hard rock elements in there too. A listener poll conducted by the BBC Radio 2 saw this album voted 67th as the greatest albums of all time list. The album was not at the level as A Night at the Opera, but it was still a successful record nonetheless, going platinum in the US, gold in the UK. It reached the top 5 in the Billboard 200 and number 1 in the UK. Featuring the songs Somebody to Love, Tie Your Mother Down, and Good Old Fashioned Lover Boy. 2112, the fourth studio album from the Canadian trio Rush. It was the band's commercial breakthrough in the United States, reaching number 61 while peaking to top 5 in their home country of Canada. In their country of Canada, it went double platinum there. It went triple platinum in the United States and gold in the UK. And it features a 20-minute epic called 2112, which was broken down into 7 parts. It also features another song called The Twilight Zone, Tears, and A Passage to Bangkok. Very highly influential record that has a lot of progressive rock and metal elements to it. Aerosmith's Rocks, released in May of 1976. It has influenced many hard rock and heavy metal artists over the years, like Guns N' Roses, Metallica, and Nirvana. Commercially successful, charting 3 singles on the Billboard Hot 100, 2 of which reached the top 40, like Back in the Saddle and Last Child. It was one of the first to ship platinum when it was released. It has gone 4 times platinum. Extremely influential because of the hard rock and heavy metal elements that went along with it. Not bad at all. And it was a perfect follow-up to the previous record, Toys in the Attic. We got Lights Out from UFO, released in May of 1977. All the songs are the band's originals except for Alone Again Or, which was a cover song by the band Love. It reached number 23 on the Billboard 200 and is the band's highest charting album in that country. In the UK, it hit number 54 and stayed on the chart for 2 weeks. This album was the first of UFO to feature lush string arrangements alongside more complex song structures than on previous albums. It was produced by Ron Nevison again. The song was most notable to feature orchestral coloring was Love to Love, a song that Iron Maiden's Steve Harris called his favorite. And of course, you got songs like Too Hot to Handle and Try Me as well. Love Drive, the 6th studio album from the Scorpions, an influential album exhibiting their classic style of hard rock and heavy metal. I believe the Scorpions were the first German band to break through in the United States and become successful. It was released by Harvest Records in Europe and Mercury Records in the US and Canada after their departure from RCA. A commercial breakthrough, reaching number 55 on the Billboard 200 and went gold. And it was also a commercial breakthrough in the UK, which reached number 36. Standout tracks include Loving You Sunday Morning, Holiday, Another Piece of Meat, Is Anybody There, and Love Drive. We wrap it up with Pink Floyd's The Wall, released in November of '79. The Wall is a rock opera that explores abandonment, cycles of violence, and isolation, symbolized by a wall. The song creates a storyline of events in the life of Pink, a fictional rock star based on Waters and Pink Floyd's former frontman Syd Barrett. The first half of the album largely features events from Waters' childhood to young adulthood, such as the death of his father in World War II and his wife's infidelity. The album also includes several references to Barrett, namely the track Nobody's Home, Comfortably Numb, was inspired by Waters' injection with a musical relaxant to combat the effects of hepatitis during In the Flesh tour in Philadelphia. Anyway, The Wall is one of the best known concept albums with over 30 million copies sold all over the globe. It is the second best Pink Floyd album behind The Dark Side of the Moon. It is the best selling double album of all time and one of the best selling albums of all time. It reached number 1 in the US, Billboard 200, and number 3 in the UK. So here's a quick recap of 10 more game-changing albums of the 1970s, hard rock and heavy metal only. Anyways, from Deep Purple in rock to Pink Floyd's The Wall, you're not going to find a better list than this. Not at all. No.